Well, this is going to be a fun video to dive into as cloud gaming wars are just beginning, and it's really fun to see as a content creator. We have GeForce Now upgrading their blades to the new RTX 3000 graphics cards, Xbox dropping some games on Game Pass that will be headed to the XCloud service, and a mobile push from XCloud to Samsung phones. And the last thing that we're going to touch on in this video is Shadow advertising big despite already being backed up on orders already. With that said, subscribe to this channel for your weekly roundup of cloud news, as this will be a weekly video going forward. But let's start this video with the GeForce Now news. And it looks as though they will be upgrading big later this year with the new NVIDIA Ampere graphic cards that are releasing worldwide this year, with the rumor being September. But GeForce Now will also be getting this love, as your service might now be possibly running on an RTX 3080 card or one of the others from the 3000 series. And if you're wondering how big that is, well, it's expected that the new 3080 will run at a 20% performance boost over the 2080 Ti. Now, if you're not a technical guy, just imagine this. These new line of cards are set to surpass the new generation of consoles that are coming out this year, and it's going to do it pretty comfortably. So essentially, for the current price of $5 a month, you'll be running your games with one of the most powerful GPUs and easily beating that new gen hardware right away. To me, that's pretty mind-blowing, considering NVIDIA at the moment hasn't announced a price hike. But this might now be their opportunity to introduce a new tier that will feature these new cards. Now, with ray tracing and DLSS bringing a new level to our game's visuals, even in GeForce Now, this is set up to really up the game even further for GeForce Now, and could potentially be the service that showcases the best that the games can look within the cloud. But a few things here are worth monitoring with these cards. Will we finally go past the 1080p, because that is currently the highest resolution that GeForce Now offers? Can we start seeing 1440p, 4K visuals? And I don't see why not, and it's why I think we could potentially see a new tier or a price hike down the line, as this would be their perfect opportunity for them to raise the price. But I would actually encourage those at NVIDIA to keep it at $5 for now and really showcase what GeForce Now can do, which is potentially have the best showcase in games with these new GPUs. The last thing to note here is I do hope this also means they start to replace some of the older rigs that feature the 1080 cards, as when I get those, I do sometimes have some issues running those games, and they don't run anywhere as good as the 2080. So overall, we'll see, but I'm really happy to see this improvement, and I'm really curious to see how this is going to look at the end of the year. Alright, and with all that said, let's go ahead and actually start covering some of the games that actually came out for GeForce Now this past week. We have a really cool list here. Keep in mind, though, that I do want you guys to realize that when a free game drops on the Epic Store, GeForce Now tends to have that same game. You could essentially play GeForce Now free tier with a free game off the Epic Store, and essentially playing free games within the cloud. I wanted you guys to go ahead and keep that in mind. With that said, let's go ahead and cover the games that did launch. We have Rock of Ages 3 Make and Break, Rogue Company, a game that dropped this past week, and they ended up having it day one on GeForce Now. It's a game that's got some hype, definitely recommend it. Check it out. We got Tacoma, FTL Faster Than Light, Steep on Epic Store, Super Hot Mind Control Delete, Subnautica Below Zero, Supreme Commander, and The Wind Road, as well as NVIDIA adding the highlight support for Dota 2. It's been another solid week for GeForce Now. Once again, no games to report lost, which is really good and always a positive, ironically. And honestly, with the news of them upgrading the GPUs here down the line and games being added every week, I personally have been diving more into GeForce Now, and it's been a solid experience. They still need some work. They still need to improve the UI, and sometimes the games don't work if you get those older 1080 cards, but overall, GeForce Now has been doing an excellent job and absolutely recommend it at the moment. But alright, let's finally move on and let's talk some XCloud, and man, oh man, this isn't really as much about XCloud as it is about Game Pass, and frankly, I have a million thoughts, but we're not going to go ahead and go into every single one of those thoughts. We're going to talk a little bit about the Xbox Showcase and what it means for cloud gaming, and you guys, It's going to be extremely hard here to deny the mark that Xbox is making in the gaming space and what that means for the future of their cloud gaming service. The fact is, the business model they are moving closer and closer to is no longer hardware based, but more of a subscription base with the Game Pass and all it's bringing. Xbox is really trying to get people on their subscription and in their ecosystem, and not really caring so much if people buy an Xbox itself. This is evident with such a generous model with the Game Pass and having the ability to not just download a lot of new games via launching through the PC, but XCloud offering all these games that were announced at the Xbox Showcase. For example, just to name a few, we have Forza Motorsport, Hellblade 2, the new Halo, Fable, and a dozen plus more games that I even can't deny to me look pretty excellent. The fact is, XCloud is going to be one of the most accessible cloud platforms, and it's going to have probably the biggest reach out of any other platform, just because it is currently rumored to have 10 million people on Game Pass right now. And honestly, that's only going to grow much more with all that they're offering here with this subscription model. There is going to be potentially a lot more passive cloud gamers. Maybe not true dedicated cloud gamers, but people who have access to playing all these brand new games via the cloud, not including all the other third-party or indie games they'll also bring to the service. The fact is, they know where the future of gaming is, and it's headed towards cloud-based gaming. What a better way to get people more acclimated to your ecosystem and them getting used to the cloud by having your service essentially tacked on and free and easily accessible. Guys, Xbox is making moves for the future, and right now, if I'm the other cloud services, I'm looking to step up my game before Xbox actually figures out how to run a true stable cloud service, because at the moment it's debatable how good XCloud really is. Even with that showcase and it showing all these brand new games coming to the next gen, the Xbox ecosystem, the potential mark that it will make with xCloud and cloud gaming, Xbox wasn't even done there, as they partnered up with Samsung and they will be featuring xCloud as a part of a marketing push for the Xbox's cloud service. Now, this new marketing will refer to the new Note 20 as a mobile game console with almost 100 games available, and the tagline they'll be using is the power to play from anywhere, and the phone is being touted as the most optimized for the xCloud service. Now, what that means, I have no idea. Now, as you guys know, Samsung here, at least in the US, they sell a crap ton of phones. And while nobody, in my opinion, will buy a Samsung phone to have their best xCloud experience, they will possibly get a lot of people who are typically purchasing these phones looking into the service and trying it out and trying cloud gaming. Honestly, it's a good move. Not one that I think does much in either direction, but to note that these phones were one of the first to also get the Stadia support outside of the Pixel phones. Now you can also be sure that you will never hear a word about Stadia in marketing these phones. So in a way, it's a bit of a shot fired across the bow to Stadia. An interesting note here to see is that these little battles occurring with cloud gaming are already starting to make moves and shape certain ways. So it's interesting to see this as a whole from the outside. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the last piece of news. This is going to be a quick one, as going forward I will be covering Shadow News and actually diving into the service myself. I'm pretty excited to really get into it, but there hasn't been much news to talk about in recent times. The service itself is backed up at the moment in regards to people getting access to it. Ironically, with activations already being backed up, they advertised on the YouTube channel Linus Tech Tips, who then, when he last covered Shadow via a sponsored video, it ended up getting the service almost 3 months behind according to the YouTubers. With them already being backed up though, and now doing yet another sponsored video some days ago, I expect that problem to now be amplified even further. It's an interesting move by Shadow to advertise even further, but the service so far on first impressions has been excellent, and I'm really excited to definitely push this cloud service and see what it can do. It can do not just gaming but other things as well, and things that will be useful for me personally. So I'm really excited going forward to see what's going to happen with Shadow and covering Shadow news. So keep that in mind when you're checking out this channel and you're looking for some of that Shadow news. But all right, guys, with all these cloud gaming battles and wars just really starting to take off, Stadia is improving upon its service on a weekly basis. XCloud is making massive moves. GeForce Now is looking to be the place to be to get the most affordable gaming, period. Each of these services really bringing their own flavors to the party. I am, for one, enjoying seeing it all. Subscribe to this channel for your weekly roundup of cloud news. With that said, I'm Sunny, and I'll see you guys in the cloud.